Hi, beautiful. So, if you have tried every self-development trick in the book, you're watching all the right YouTubers, but nothing is working, sis, I hate to break it to you, but you might be the problem. You are unfortunately the common denominator in this equation. Now, of course, we already kind of know that because on our self-development journeys, the goal is to better ourselves. So we can't control other people. Our goal is to learn how to become more and more aligned with who we were made to be, thus the self-development journey. But I say that you might be the common denominator because there are specific habits, sometimes we don't even realize we have, that quite literally sabotage our growth journeys and therefore sabotage our purpose. And so today is the day that you become aware of these things that you need to stop doing because they are holding you back. You have to stop sabotaging your purpose. And of course, it takes time to grow. It takes time to improve. It takes time to change these things, but you need to be aware of them. And today is the day that happens for you. Now, there's a lot of subtopics under this umbrella, but the two main ones that we're going to cover today are invalidating your value and being directed by external energy. These things happen subconsciously. They're things that we've trained ourselves to do over time. And it does take a lot of intentionality to not do them, but it will literally transform the trajectory and the ownership you're able to have over these steps that you are taking. So first, with invalidating your value, we do this a lot in small ways, and unfortunately it builds up into invalidating our purpose, because if you're the one who needs to walk in your purpose and you're invalidating yourself, then you're basically invalidating the person that will fulfill that purpose. I hope that made sense. A great way to kind of see and do like a temperature check on where you are in this area is to ask, how do you act when you receive compliments? I know for myself, maybe 2 years ago, let's say someone says, oh, your hair is really good. And I'm like, oh, thanks. Yeah, I did it myself. So it's kind of messy. I can't even like remember a ton of examples because I don't do it anymore. We thank God. But I wouldn't be able to accept the compliments. As I started to grow, I shifted into being able to say thank you, but I always felt like I had to give a compliment back. And now people have varying opinions on this. I love giving compliments, so I do still give compliments back a lot. But I realized that previously when I was giving compliments back, it was because I felt like I didn't necessarily deserve the compliment that was given to me. Like, oh, well, if you gave me this, like, let me pay you back with a compliment. Or I don't really just deserve this compliment without giving one to you back. Or thinking, well, maybe they're just complimenting me because they want a compliment. And a lot of times I would also think that people were lying. Like if people were saying like, oh my gosh, you did that so well, like I would literally think that they were lying to me and then compliment them back to try to like make up for that, which looking back is ridiculous. But now growing from that place, if someone compliments me, I can just say, oh, thank you so much. Or I can say, oh my gosh, that's so nice. Thank you. Or thank you. I really needed to hear that. And I don't feel like I need to add on to the positivity that they've already given me. And that's something that is a great rain check just to see where are you on that spectrum. Are you able to fully validate the positive things that people say about you? Or do you feel a need to invalidate or supplement those things? And wherever you lay on that spectrum, it is okay. There's room for growth. You also don't want to be one of those people where someone's like, oh, you look good. And you're like, oh, I know. Like sometimes you do that as a joking way, like with your friends and stuff. But as far as with strangers and just people coming up and being positive to you in general, you still want to, have some sort of humility and like humanity to you. And so really be aware of where you are and be intentional with being more open, telling yourself that you did a good job. And back to the compliments from other people, I had to manually like tell myself in my brain not to invalidate compliments when people gave them to me until it became natural. I had to tell myself, just say thank you, like don't have to add on to it. Literally like manually in my brain, hold back my words from supplementing compliments. And now it's natural, but it wasn't always. So that's why I say this is so intentional. Like see where you are on that scale. I think that's a great benchmark for where you are in validating yourself, and then try to take intentional steps to improve that. The second big part of this like umbrella of invalidating your value is seeing your beauty. Now, this is really interesting. I think this podcast is for everybody, but mainly for the girls, and we are beautiful. Women specifically just have a certain type of beauty. Like when you go to a museum, you're not seeing too many sculptures of just men being created to just show their bodies and their figure, and we're just beautiful. We are all that girl, like we are. And life has a funny way of really trying to make you forget that, of trying to make you feel like you are not beautiful or that you are less than. And I remember a time in my life where I just did not feel beautiful. Like growing up, I literally thought I was ugly. And that was just based on how I felt about myself, on what people around me had told me, and not based off of me seeing my own beauty. First of all, and this is from a faith foundation, but first of all, if you are made in the image of God and God made this beautiful earth, you have to be beautiful. Like, there's nothing short of that. You are beautiful. But it's important on a day in, day out basis to see your own beauty. And while yes, like you'll see my other videos, I love showing maintenance vlogs, doing your nails, doing your own lashes, doing your own hair. Taking time also just to wear your natural hair, to go and do your makeup and not maybe add on any extensions, to take care of your natural nails and to be able to just put a clear gloss on and be like, wow, like look at my short stubby hands, like they're beautiful too. And then getting more comfortable with that, adding back on these other add-ons, these other things that accentuate that beauty. But I think it's really important to take the time to just see your like natural beauty, and it will just bring you so much more confidence, because trends will come, trends will go, as far as the hair we can add on, the extensions we can add on, how we do our makeup. And trust y'all, like I love that stuff. Like y'all know I love that stuff. So I'm never gonna say like, oh, don't do any of that. I'm just saying that it's good to have time and create space to see your beauty in like your rawest state, and just to be able to appreciate it, to be able to appreciate your body even when you haven't been in the gym 5 days a week. So yeah, see your beauty. And then lastly, with learning to not invalidate yourself, is to engage with the world as your dream self. I went to an event over this last weekend, and I kind of did that, like carrying myself in a way where I was acting as my dream self. Maybe I was meeting a new group of girls, and I know that my tendency can be to feel insecure, to worry that maybe they don't like me, all of that. And engaging with them though in a way where I'm putting that fear, I'm putting those negative thoughts on the back burner, and I'm going to go throughout this conversation with the assumption that they're cool people, I'm cool people, we're all cool, enjoying the situation, and not letting fear take the driver's seat. And when you do that, you just open yourself up to more opportunities. Kind of like I was saying earlier, like putting myself on manual to hold myself back from supplementing other people's compliments of me. Same thing, put yourself on manual. How would your dream self act? How would your dream self move throughout the situation? And engage with the world in that way, day in, day out. And it can be tiring. That's why you need alone time. That's why you need reset time. That's why you need your Sunday resets. But it will be so helpful. And also you'll start to receive the things that you want. Like the whole point of growing, the whole point of self-development is, yes, to grow ourselves, but also to experience a better world, to experience the things that we dream of. And it's not until you start acting as that person, and so you start walking in confidence, walking in purpose, seeing your beauty, validating yourself, that you will begin to receive back those things. Like I met some great people, and like one girl I met lives somewhere that I would maybe want to be at one day, and like just being able to have her as a connect now, and just even having fun in the moment. Like there's sometimes where our fear will stop us from having fun. And so being able to engage with the world as your dream self will help you as you're growing on your journey. Now, the second big umbrella is being directed by external energy. We are literally our own little silos in a whole huge world, so much stuff going on, so many people will meet. It's impossible not to be impacted by it. So the goal isn't to not be impacted by things around you, because you are going to be. It's inevitable. We're human beings. We are not rocks, okay? You're gonna be impacted by the people around you, but being directed by external energy is something different. First is the snowball effect. Example, earlier this morning, started off the morning going well. Negative energy was brought to me, and it impacted me because I'm a human being. Oh my gosh, I was so tempted, y'all, to let it direct me. I did not want to film today, to be so honest with you. I wanted to lay in my bed and go straight to napping, and I almost let that negativity just completely throw off my whole thing. I almost let it direct me. And this is where the snowball effect comes into play. If I had let it direct me, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. I wouldn't have an episode to post today. I wouldn't have pre-recorded an episode for next week. The rest of my week would have been hurry, trying to figure out when to catch up with it. I have to fix my hair, so when would I have had my hair done to record? And it would have snowballed into this whole thing where I would have been behind. My goal right now is to start a new content calendar, and I would have had to push it back an entire week. Had I not resisted that energy directed me, I literally would have had to push my goals back a whole week. That is insane. That is the snowball effect. And this has nothing to do with what people are doing that is brought to you. I talk in other videos, and we'll talk in more videos about interpersonal relationships. This is about you taking responsibility of your own person. No one else is responsible for achieving your goals or for helping you achieve your goals emotionally. Everyone is going through their own thing. So if someone happens to be having a negative moment and they bring that negativity to you, whether they mean to or not, it is your responsibility how you handle that. You can let it impact you, like I said, it impacting me. And we're not always perfect in this, but you really have to sit and think, are you going to let it direct you? And today I said, no, it's not going to. I dragged myself up. I was frowning, putting on my makeup, maybe not the happiest, like I said, impact. But I decided, let me put on some encouraging music. Let me go outside and record here in my car. The sun's out, there's trees around me, it feels good. And let me just let the energy that I'm on today, let my positivity direct my day, instead of adopting something else that never really had to be mine. And I think that so many people live through life not even aware of the fact that they have this option. A lot of people live where if something negative comes into their space, they just automatically start going down that way. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Not even thinking, just being tossed to and fro. And you have to be stable. You have to be strong. You cannot let these things sabotage you. And like I said, it's self-sabotage because it's no one else's responsibility but yours to decide how you are going to be directed. So don't be directed by external energy. Understand that as a human being, it will impact you, it will impact how you feel, but you have the chance to sit, reflect, and redirect yourself in the direction that you want to go. And a principle to just keep in mind as you are not being directed by external energy is to observe but not react. You have to take time to sit, observe, and not react. Even if maybe you reacted a little bit, that doesn't mean you have to keep reacting. You have to slow down and sit and observe. Let's say you're walking and there's a huge puddle in front of you. You're not just gonna walk through the puddle. You're gonna stop, observe around you, and then react. And it is the same thing. Rains are gonna come, hard times are gonna fall. You have to sit and observe before you move forward and make your next step, make your next move. And lastly, with not being directed by external energy, you can change environments that you're in, y'all. You can. And whether this is changing your external environment or changing your internal environment, understand that you are not stuck or confined to the energy that is brought by the people around you or by the situations that you're in or even by the thoughts that are coming at you and trying to get you down. You have the opportunity to impact an environment. Like I know, for example, let's say I'm just feeling hopeless and very lonely. If I put on my certain gospel playlist, yes, I may still be sad, but my environment is now filled with hope. I'm reminded that I am not alone. And it's these things that will help you to be able to maintain an environment that you are growing in that is conducive, healthy, loving, and just more joyful. I don't know, just more life-giving. Because the second point of not being directed by external energy is about controlling your internal environment and the atmosphere that surrounds you as a person. I don't want to be too abstract, out there with it, but I think this is so real. And it really will impact how you go about your growth journey, because if you are existing in a very negative environment, negative headspace, it will really be so difficult to move forward and bring like positivity and bring life into whatever it is that you're doing. Sometimes changing your environment looks like literally picking yourself up and leaving a space, leaving a room, leaving a conversation. And this is another thing I've realized, like at the end of the day, as people, we're all responsible for our own responsibilities. So if you know you're in a space that's really negative for you, if you're in a relationship that's really hurtful for you, and you feel like you have to stay just out of obligation, this does not include like covenant marriages or necessarily like family bonds, like sometimes, but most of the time not. And you feel like you have to stay in this relationship out of obligation, but the relationship is draining you from being able to carry out your function of your responsibilities. Yeah, you don't have to stay. You don't have to stay. And I think that there are seasons where we go through hard things with people. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like day in, day out, like this is just how somebody operates. Like if you need to separate yourself, then do so, because at the end of the day, you have to have the energy to show love to the people in your life. You have to have the energy to act on your dreams, your purpose for your life. And sometimes you do have to just change your environment so that way you're able to get filled up, or so that you're not depleted and you can go through and complete what it is that you have to do. And sometimes this can seem harsh, and I understand why. It kind of is harsh, but if you gotta do it, you gotta do it. Like, that's all I'm gonna say. You cannot be directed by external energy, and we are only human. So if you're at capacity or you just don't have any more space for something, one, communicate that with the person, with the people that you're around, being like, hey, like, I can't have this conversation right now, or hey, like, I don't appreciate when you do this, or like, hey, like, honestly, like, I just can't be in this complaining, like whatever it is that you have to do. And it's okay. People might not like it, but you are the only person responsible for your responsibilities. So do what you have to do. The sun keeps moving, so I keep moving my car back. But of course, I would be remiss to end this video without reminding you to rely on the one who made you. This is probably the biggest form of self-sabotage that you could possibly have, that humanity as a whole probably has, is attempting to figure out our lives, figure out who we are, figure out who we were made to be, our role in this world, without consulting the one person who literally made it all. I know this is something that I was not doing for a long time, and I also know that not everyone is a person of faith. So if this point does not apply to you, I would just recommend like praying and asking and searching just to learn more, because maybe one day it could apply to you. But it is just so important to go back to the basics, go back to the foundation. And a lot of times with God, like, yes, you can get a very specific answer, a very specific instruction, but sometimes it's just the principles of love, the principles of joy, forgiveness, integrity, honesty, putting others before yourselves. A lot of these things that when you start acting them out in your life, a lot of other aspects just become clearer. You learn how to have more self-control, you learn how to be more loving, you learn how to be more diligent, and this inherently makes that atmosphere that you were talking about more positive. Not only that, but you're welcoming the God of the universe into your atmosphere, into your growth journey, and like that's just the biggest help you could ever get and the biggest gift that you could ever have. And so please, 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 as you're taking on all of these tips, all of this advice, all of this information, make sure that is actually founded on the one who made you, on the one who loves you, on the only being in the reality that we know of that actually knows what you were made for and knows who you were made to be. Well, I hope that this video was helpful. I like the car videos. I feel like it's more like intimate, I don't know, and I love that the lighting is already set up for me too. But yeah, stop sabotaging your purpose. We don't have time for that this year, and it's such a drain of energy. So just stop sabotaging your purpose. Be intentional about where you need to grow, about how you can validate yourself and the positive things about yourself, and learn not to be directed by external energy, but to really curate and intentionally protect a positive, life-giving atmosphere for your growth journey that will not only help you, but as you're stepping into your purpose, it'll also impact and touch the lives of the people around you. Well, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the I Am podcast. I'm so excited to see you taking another step on your growth journey, and I will see you in next week's video. Bye.